All right, I'm going to call to order this county commissioner special meeting for November 15th, 2022. Let's see.
I'm going to move to adopt the agenda as presented with the exception of postponing the district attorney item 4 to the December regular meeting, adding an item 8 to facilitate the hiring of a new full-time corrections officer, and adding an item 9 titled Sheriff Charities Heating Assistance.
Um,
Does that do it, Bill?
No, two things. First of all, I'd like to have you remove a future date from the district attorney's discussion. Let him come back to us when they want to discuss that.
Okay, how about with the exception of removing the district attorney item 4?
Right. I'd also ask that you make one more adjustment, and that is under the ARPA discussion, a discussion and possible action on assisting the town of Surrey's broadband program with up to $140,000.
Are we taking action on that? I haven't seen anything on that.
Well, and that's the discussion I had this morning with JD, that when there's action to be taken, we need to see this specifically on here. And you'll see that in the future, but it's not here today. It's not on the agenda, and that's why I'm including it, because Surrey's here today. They're ready for us to take action. It is part of our ongoing program, and we have discussed Surrey in the past, so I think we still could have this discussion and possibly take action on it.
Okay, wow, that's pretty big. I'd like that. I would have liked a little background on it, but okay, that I'll make that part of my motion. I'm skeptical about action without having any background information. No, that's a big surprise, but okay, that's my motion.
So you all set with the motion? You all set, Patrice, with the motion on the floor? Okay, and I'm going to second that motion.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, now I'm going to open the meeting to public comment. Do we have anybody here for public comment this morning? Seeing none. We do our minutes.
I'm gonna move to approve the minutes of the November 1 regular meeting as presented.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Is the sheriff here? Sheriff's here.
Oh, there he
Sheriff,
is. Yep.
come on up.
Morning, Sheriff.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to take the opportunity to make an announcement of a collaboration between the Sheriff's Charities and the Hancock County Commissioners. And I'll briefly explain what the project's about, and you'll see more information in the very near future of what's going on. We realize that financially, right now, that's the way the situation is, it's very difficult for people to make ends meet. And most of us, I suspect, in this room are able to pay for our heating oil and our food and things like that. And it reminded me of what it's like right now when I got up this morning and it was 25 degrees at my house, not inside the house, but it was 25 degrees. When my feet hit the floor, I was able to go downstairs and turn the pellet stove on and start warming the house back up again. And unfortunately, there's a large portion of our communities that don't have that opportunity to do that, the luxury of being able to do that. So we had a brainstorm, and I proposed that brainstorm to the committee that oversees the Sheriff's Charities, that works on the fundraisers and also approves spending of any money. And many of them you see here this morning, and many of them could not be here because of scheduling, et cetera. And with that, we have agreed that we will make a contribution of up to $10,000 to a fund to help pay for heating, whether it is firewood, pellets, oil, propane, whatever that is. And I called Commissioner Clark, and because he's part of that committee, and asked if the commissioners in any way could participate in that. And he polled the other two commissioners and they unanimously agreed that they would do the same thing, accessing some of the ARPA funds, which are designed for projects just like this, to benefit our communities, to benefit people who are struggling. And they've committed $20,000. So between the two groups, we have $30,000 that we are willing to contribute to an organization that I'm currently working with. I'm not going to make an announcement who that is, that will administer these funds, that will determine where these dollars will go to help with the heating, and get that information back to us so that we know that the funds are being appropriately, the money will be used here in Hancock County. And what we want to do too is we'd like to challenge our community, is that we would like to have our community members, if possible, maybe businesses, maybe individually, that if they would contribute, we would match up to $10,000 from the sheriff's charities and up to $20,000 from the commissioners and the ARPA funds. For every dollar that is matched, we will use $1 of the sheriff's charity money, and the commissioners will use $2 for a total of $3 that will go to match with these funds. We're really excited about this, and for those of us that have no families that are struggling, I think this is a big shot in the arm, and these are the things, quite frankly, that I personally believe and the commissioners believe that we should be doing to help our community, make our community better. And this is a perfect example of two agencies or two organizations or two groups, whatever you want to describe, in county government working together to help take care of our citizens here in Hancock County and make them safe. I want to thank the commissioners for that. I want to thank everybody here from Sheriff's Charities for all the work they've done to make these funds available. These funds will not affect the other projects that Sheriff's Charities are involved in. I've had a couple of people ask me, well, does that mean no Christmas for kids? We will still have Christmas for kids, and we will still have a couple other projects that we have in the works. But that's what I wanted to do, is make that announcement today. I'm very proud to be associated with people that are willing to do that. And if you have any questions, I guess probably contact me, and I will.
Okay, now, this idea came up late, but time was of the essence to get this going. As Scott said, it's getting cold out there. People are already in need of heating assistance. And so we're kind of getting like the announcement ahead of the official action. And this morning, I'm looking at my counterparts this morning, that I would ask you to, in fact, approve that we contribute up to $20,000 from ARPA funds towards this program to be reimbursed, not just to give a check, but to reimburse actual expenditures from this agency as they are, in the amount of $2 for every dollar that they pony up. And we'll put that together with the $1 that the Sheriff's Charity is going to contribute, and that we make this available. I've contacted Kitty. Kitty said, yes, definitely, that the ARPA funds qualify for this type of a program. And I think this is exactly what we want to do with much of our funds, is get this back into the community, help the needy people. And so I'm going to move this morning that the commissioners approve contributing up to $20,000 in reimbursement to support a heating assistance program. Period.
I'll second the motion. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 I can't thank you enough, gentlemen, and I know we'll make a difference.
Thanks, Jeff.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Jeff. I shake your hand, but you're not here, Commissioner. Thank you. Thank you.
Now we're going to move on to our airport.
Wasting time.
Good morning.
Aren't we at
Yeah,
ARPA?
Harper first.
We just got a minute.
Oh, that's a shame. The member of the media was late getting in on that.
John, are we at ARPA or the airport?
Oh, yeah, you're right. I jumped a little bit there. Sorry about that. All right, we're on our ARPA report. Sorry. Go, John.
Good morning, Commissioners. We are going to talk about Surrey, but I just want to give you a couple of other updates. You should have a packet for Surrey in your. Okay.
I don't have that packet for Surrey.
Oh, you do not?
I do not. That wasn't forwarded to me.
Let me jump ahead real quick. So I'll talk about Swans Island. That is, they did apply for the MCA grant. So we're waiting. That'll be a January announcement, just so you know on that one. Orland, Commissioner, I did follow up with Lori.
Yeah.
Gave her a phone call. We had a conversation last week, and she just hadn't heard from folks. So she's going to push. There's a public meeting.
Okay.
I think this coming up this week, and it is actually ahead of it. When I had her on the phone, I looked it up in there. They call it the plan.
Okay.
I can't think of the name of the plan. Broadband is in there.
Okay.
So she's thinking all over them as well, and I'll try to see if we can get a hold of the town again too.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, so that's the report there, right? I could hardly hear him.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was yes. That-
Okay.
that-
So
now
I'm
we're-
gonna move to accept and file a Mission Broadband update report dated November 15th as presented.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then I have a question, John. The Surrey material you're talking about, is that the stuff that was part of the packet, or are you talking about something new? That's where I'm confused.
Oh, no, it should be part of your packet.
Okay, I'm sorry then, I got it.
Okay. So similar report that we had in the past. Surrey is working with a vendor, Consolidated, CCI as we call them, Consolidated Communications. They have stepped up. Surrey has done, let me back up, Surrey's done a lot of work from the local committees and pushed surveys, went door to door, speed tests, really talked to people and try to get an understanding, okay, where is their internet, where's their not internet? And I've been working with them for a year or so now.
Yeah.
I think since we have this project, so. And they have a lot of good news to tell, I will say, from a, what's available, what's not available. And, they do have some good coverage, but where it lacks bad. And that's the challenge. So Consolidated, you'll see in the packet, has really done a good job, really in the area as well. And Surrey kind of sits in a nice little spot, I'll say, conveniently for, kind of Consolidated to say, okay, let's expand our network, right? We see where we're missing. We can see what we can do to try to solve the gap that's in Surrey. And, for unserved, you'll see 121 strictly unserved, which is what the ARP money for, is what we talked about. But there's also some really bad other quality of service issues with other providers. And so this network is actually going to cover all of that, the gaps, I will say, that's in there. And so as you'll see, I'll let them speak a little bit about the conversation with CCI. But, the project cost is 1.6 million, and CCI is putting in almost 90% of that. So it's a big step up for those guys.
Yeah.
They were asking this morning from the commissioners for 140,000, and they're actually going to match municipally 35,000. So they're also, not only have they stepped up from a lot of hourly, I'll say, work, they're also saying, okay, the town is very important for the town. And so if you want, for a few minutes, they can give you kind of the update of what they've done, but a couple of things, outreach and digital inclusion, as we always talk about. If you don't know how to use it, once you get it, it doesn't do you any good. But if you can spare them a few minutes, I think it'd be a good story.
Definitely.
Okay.
All right,
George?
Commissioners, thank you. Thank you very much. Surrey is blessed with regard to broadband in the sense that the timing of our project and the advantageous location of being midway between Ellsworth and Blue Hill gives us a unique opportunity. And through negotiations with CCI, the Fidium Fiber folks, they're willing to shoulder, as John explained, up to 90% of the cost of the project. And the reason is that they're building out the Ellsworth Wire Center, and they also have a committed project to the Peninsula Utility Broadband towns on Blue Hill Peninsula. We're midway between. And because they have some issues with contractors that they want to keep busy, they're willing to give us an arrangement whereby for $175,000 total local share, 35,000 from the town of Surrey and 140,000 hopefully from Hancock County Commission, we can move ahead immediately. They want to get started early in Q1 2023. So if we can secure the funds in the next couple of weeks and be ready to go, we can take advantage of this situation. If we can't, the price goes up $410,000. But because of the advantageous timing and location, CCI Fidium is willing to shoulder that additional $410,000. And as JD explained, 90% of the cost of the project. So we've worked over a year and a half. We've done an extensive outreach. We've done door-to-door speed tests. We've done 5 every door mailing to keep our citizens informed. And we're very much dedicated to creating a robust outreach digital inclusion program as we move forward to not only build out a fiber network, but also to ensure the fact that folks have the know-how, the technical coaching and competence to make full use of the new broadband fiber.
And commissioners, I know one of the things we talk about when we're here is the kind of our money cost per household type, right, that the money's going at. So when you look at the 175, it's right around $1,400, $1,450, which falls in line with, you know, the other projects that we've looked at.
That's like per household.
Yeah. And again, that's what, again, we talk a lot about it because of rules and regulations on our, and Katie always keeps us straight on our side of it from the our side. The Treasury rules, you know, for the unserved, and that's what those specifically this money is targeted for.
So are the will the providers stay the same in the area?
So, yeah, there's going to be 3 in the end. There will be 3 providers. Consolidated is there now. They do not have a robust broadband product. It's copper DSL that we talked about, so they're going to upgrade that plan.
If I'm reading my expense report correctly, it appears that we have assisted Bar Harbor with $40,000. That sound right, GD?
Not for Harbor, not for Harbor.
No,
Out of Bar Harbor, 40,000. Lemoyne is one of the only ones.
That's the one.
It's
The one you
actually-
spent the money on. Swans is teed up.
Oh, I'm sorry, wait a minute. I'm sorry, that's the premium. So Lemoyne is the only one that we've actually,
Spent money on.
that's 55,000. That's all right.
No, well,
Yeah, it's what,
I thought it was a lot.
maybe that's all we've done so far. I think that's what was spent.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lemoyne, I'm thinking Swans. Yeah. Yes.
We've earmarked it, but
Yeah.
We hear that something, how much for Swans on it?
I have to go back.
I mean, is it 6 figures?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
more than you think, 142?
Yes.
It is more than, yeah, okay, we hear that then. Paul, what's your feelings?
well, I guess I was a little caught by surprise. I didn't realize that I thought this was just a discussion and so I have not run the numbers, but what you're asking for is 140,000, not 40, right?
Correct.
correct.
Well, that's what, we had set aside money for this, in general. Not really made an allocation per, community. I guess I'd like to see how this fits. It sounds like a good project. I just don't have everything in front of me to see how it fits in, so I'm gonna defer to you folks to tell me that.
Are you thinking of the original tracking spreadsheet?
Yes,
Yeah, it fits, it aligns with that as well.
it does, okay.
Just out of curiosity, so I know it's really kind of like none of my business on that end, but is Surrey's contribution from their office funds, or how did that end up going about?
Yes, it is. It's coming out of our ARPA funds. The last, at our last town meeting in April, we designated $50,000 for time-sensitive projects, knowing that we would be, well, we were negotiating with the internet providers, and then we put out an RFP to the providers back a couple months ago. And
I'm sorry, sir. Paul is away in Chicago, and if you don't come to the mic, he can't hear you.
sorry.
Please.
Well, I could hear most of what he said.
okay.
But try to come to the mic, though, so
Yeah.
Paul, we want Paul involved in this.
Yes, the town of Surrey formed a Surrey Broadband Committee over a year and a half ago. You see 5 of us right here, and George and the 4 of us here. And it's been a commitment of the town to address broadband needs because it came to us loud and clear about people lacking service, people having to pay high amounts just to get their side roads wired, and just general dissatisfaction, as you can see. I do have a summary that's more extensive. See there that I can leave with you to look at it. Well, I can just hand this out. But give you a little more information. We've done all our homework. We've had our community surveys. We've been in communication with the community on a regular basis. We've all gotten door to door. We've done speed tests. You can see the effects of the speed tests on the Maine Broadband Coalition. We've done it all.
So, the town still need to do a final vote on it, just.
No, the town meeting was that the select board can pull the trigger on this project as soon as needed.
Lily.
So tonight, we are going to have a select board meeting to do just that. All 3 select board members have been committed, have said so in prior select board meetings, that as soon as we can go forward with this, we will, put our amount in. So that's going to happen tonight. Yeah.
It's interesting to note, Paul, when I look at the allocation sheet, even before we identify communities that are not going to be involved and reallocate their funds to
Right there for you.
Surrey's allocation was 150,000. So even before reallocating other towns to this allocation sheet, their request is still under what our calculation would have been for that community.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was looking for. So I guess I support this. Is somebody prepared to make a motion? I don't have all the information in front of me.
JD, help me with this, but I'm going to move that the county contribute from their ARPA funds $140,000 to the town of Surrey for their MBI project.
For the broadband.
For the-
Yeah, the consolidation.
Now, help me again then. What's the end of that? For their what?
For their broadband expansion project.
for their broadband expansion project.
So my understanding is that's up to, right? Because it's a match, or are we just writing a check for that amount?
It's 140,000.
It's going to be 140,000.
So it's not up to.
I'll second the motion.
And if I, quick brief, if you
Yep.
wanted to say that with a match of the 35 from the town.
Well, this is a moot issue because if everybody doesn't contribute according to the distribution on this analysis, then the project doesn't fly. So obviously, you're not going to keep 140,000 if you don't contribute your 35. And if TCI doesn't contribute their 1.5, so I mean, it's everybody's got to participate, or nobody's going to participate. So we'll contribute 140,000 at the appropriate time when everybody else is ponying up, I guess, right?
And this is coming out of the allocation that we have for broadband. I'm
Correct.
assuming. Yeah.
We've set aside 5.6 million for that.
Yeah. Okay,
All right. all
Bill, you
those in
seconded
favor?
it?
Motion's been made and seconded, and he's calling the vote, Paul.
Okay, great.
You agree?
Aye.
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 And that's a done deal.
Yeah.
Good. Who's the next big project, JD?
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. I'm
Good luck,
deferring,
good luck on your program.
I'm deferring to this grant round that we just did.
Okay.
And seeing, okay, how that comes out in January to see what's gonna happen in Ellsworth. And I say that because I'm hesitating a little bit because of the gap analysis. I think it's the new mapping that's coming out. It shows bigger gaps. And
So when these awards come out, they're going to need us to help them match.
No, what will happen is that what this award is gonna do is kind of give us a framework of next steps.
I see.
Right, so now we're gonna be, kind of go through this with MCA and say, okay, here's what they did. Here's what they, allowed money for, here's what they didn't allow. What we did.
See, we have to do the supplementals. Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Very good, thank you. Sure, the town is very thankful. Good.
All right, now I'm ready for the airport.
Okay, now it's my turn.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. So the first one I got is the request for approval for the law enforcement contract between the Hancock County Sheriff's Department and the Hancock County Barber Airport for law enforcement services in the amount of $177,775.
How's that compared to the last,
It's
Yeah.
up about 15 or $20,000.
So I'm gonna move to approve the proposed law enforcement contract between Hancock County Sheriff's Department and Hancock County Bar Harbor Airport for law enforcement services from January 1, 2023 to December 31st, 2023 in the amount of $177,775, and authorize the chairperson to sign on behalf of the county.
Second the motion.
all those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, so the next item I got is, we have an advertisement in the rotunda on the inbound bag and the inbound arrival section. This is actually a renewal. They've been there. They was there last year. So it's a request for approval for advertising agreement between Black River Management, Butler Conservation Incorporated, and the Hancock County Bar Harbor Airport, and the chair to sign.
Okay, so it's the same thing as we did last year, basically.
Nothing's changed.
Okay, so moved. I can read the whole thing, but so moved, if that's okay with the chair, or I can read the whole thing.
Okay,
Now I second the motion.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The next one is the request for approval of the lease assignment for parcel P2 with the lease date of April 15th, 2006 with Nathaniel Fenton and Peter Shirtenlieb to Leroy Muse and the chair to sign.
So moved.
Second.
This is just an assignment of an existing lease. There's no
Correct.
changes to it.
Correct.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the only other thing I got, and it's not on there, is just a quick update. I have been working with Nick Burlingham with Columbia Air on that Amendment 6. We're waiting for John Hammer at Redmond Winchell to review it. Once he's reviewed it, it'll come back to you. We expect it to be there for the next meeting.
Great. Sounds good.
That's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, we're ready.
Morning, Dennis.
Morning, gentlemen. Quickly today, I'm seeking approval of the snowplow contract, and this is, was something we put up in 2020, as you recall, with a couple of re-ups. And this is unique because the price has increased by $500 over the last,
So is it going up $500 per the agreement?
not per the agreement, but of their own volition. And then, this is reflecting costs that are everywhere.
So I'm gonna move to approve the snowplow contract with RF Jordan for the 2022-2023 snow season to plow, sand, the jail, courthouse, and sheriff's office for the sum of $5,500 to be paid in 5 installment payments as presented.
Second the motion. Correct me, Dennis, if I'm wrong, though, but we can re-up. It was a one-year contract, and we had 2 extensions. But I thought the language says the extensions, we can approve the extensions provided there was no increase.
Right. That's why, again,
And we have an increase today, so this technically, gentlemen, I don't say we can't. This extension does not comply with the original contract because the original contract says that we can extend provided there's no increase. There is a $500 increase in this. And so,
But they're not bound to accept if it's a mutual extension, as I remember, right?
what I'm saying though is that
the terms.
the terms have changed, and if we don't get an extension for the same amount of money, it's almost like we cannot extend it.
Yeah.
And we're gonna put this contract out to bid.
Yeah.
Because we're allowing the contract to increase without bidding. And I don't know how we want to proceed. Now, here we are facing December. We're gonna get snow this winter, this Wednesday, we're supposed to get snow. And we don't have time enough to go up to bid. And I gotta believe, same situation that Dennis has had over the years, that if we wait until November, December, everybody's got a full plate.
Right. I've made a couple of queries.
You have it, and nobody's,
Well, Grendel's not interested, Dugas is not interested. And they have all that can handle,
yeah.
because it means staffing for the smaller companies.
We're going to have to acknowledge, gentlemen, that I won't say sole source, but maybe an emergency exists in that we need to accept this today because there isn't time enough to go out, and the likelihood of finding vendors who are willing to bid is remote this time of year. And we simply need to put on record the urgency of approving this contract today with the understanding that this is not an extension because the terms have changed, but this is,
A one-off or,
Right.
I call it a temporary agreement. And we'll go out to bid in it's next summer again.
we're gonna have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. So Paul's motion is in order. It's just that the record needs to reflect that this is not an extension, that this is approval of the contract based upon the urgency of the situation. Okay, Paul?
Yeah, I was looking at my language here and it doesn't not mention extension.
No, they don't play. Their attitude towards this is different than ours. In that we sign a contract with language that protects us for a couple of years and they just put out these re-ups like It's their normal business. And if it's congruous, that's wonderful, but in this case, it's not. So I think Commissioner Clark's reaction is appropriate.
So, yep, I agree. I would just say that maybe we're gonna have to pay just that little bit more attention to what's happening on the contract. And now that we've had this experience this one time, if we have a similar contract going forward in
Yeah.
the future, that if we see something like this come through,
I still would like to see you
We
pursue,
didn't get it till 11/1.
I still would like to see you pursue a one-year contract with 2 extensions with no increase. That holds the price for 3 years. But you're right. I mean, that's the disadvantage. If you thought you was gonna get another contract and it didn't come till November, you find out they've increased it. It's not the same contract. It's put you at a disadvantage.
Right, so we're
Yeah.
kind of over barrel in this
Yeah.
particular case, but
In
Yeah,
the future,
we certainly are. And quite frankly, a $500 increase, compared to what else is happening out there is, I'm not, my feeling is at this point, if this were to go out to bid, the increase would be $500.
I agree, you're correct.
so can you pursue this, Dennis, as a one-year contract, asking for 2 more extensions if there's no increase?
I certainly can.
See if you can do that with them.
Sure.
If not, we'll just do a one-year contract for this amount.
Rhonda's
But-
got to say about it.
But if Rhonda says, yeah, we'll give you those 2, but you gotta tell her that, look, Rhonda, if you think you're gonna increase it, you need to tell us before November 1st.
Right, well, and it occurs to me that this might be a phone call in early September to ask
them.
about what's going on here in
Right.
advance
Right.
might serve us well. So that'll be entered in my calendar.
So
all right,
I
we'll
don't think,
call a vote. All those in favor?
Aye,
aye.
Aye. All right, we got one other request from you, correct?
Yes, request permission for Damian Abraham to work temporary full-time during the planned absence of Diane Ariscato from November 10th through January 27th, 2023.
so moved.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye,
aye.
Aye.
Typically, I didn't include the kind of benefits or whatever they receive. It's I'll work out with Michael,
It's by policy, right?
the opposite, right, by policy.
Yep.
Yeah, we brought it down.
I figured. And that's it. Thank you very much,
Thank
gentlemen.
you. All right, now, first item for the commissioner section is our healthcare buyout, buy down policy for 2023.
so I'm gonna move to approve the employee health insurance buyout, buy down policy as presented. That's basically the same as last year's and, there's no changes as I can tell. As far as I
Well-
can tell.
I'm not gonna say that. Let's have a discussion before we decide how we're gonna proceed, Paul, please. Buyouts have generally been 40% of the premium. That was, had to find that information, it's so old now. But do we know what the premium amount is, annual premium amount is?
Well, to me, that's one of the difficulties with this because we don't get those rates until May, really. So we don't know. So I've seen, this is one of the things, and I went back and I did reach out to Scott, the former administrator, to ask him how this was done, because you see all of the forms come out, say, as of January 1st of the next year. But we don't know what those numbers are gonna be at this point in time. And they can't even give me an estimate when I talked with.
How about May of 22? We must have those numbers. The premium amounts.
I mean, obviously what we're paying now, yes. I mean, we can pull those out and
Yeah, that's the reason for my motion the way it is.
Well, the thing is, though, is that if there had been an increase in May of 22 in a premium, that should be reflected in the amount of our buy down, a stipend, in our 23 policy. So
Do we know what?
So without knowing what our premium number is and not applying the 40% rule, then we don't know how close the present rates are to what it should be.
I do have that information back on
Did the rate go up?
a little bit, yes.
I mean, we can bring this back on
Yeah.
December 7th meeting.
Yeah, let's bring it.
Let's bring it back. Let's get those numbers.
So just so we know, we have a kid
Sir.
matching what's really happening with the
Certainly.
costs.
Okay, so my motion died for lack of a second, or,
So that died. All right.
And that's the only issue here, right? The buyout.
All the rest of that's the same as it's been in terms of how it would get broken down.
And there were a couple sections that were taken off prior years. There were a couple previous over the last 2 or 3 years, but this is essentially the same as approved last year. So
And probably you didn't notice that last year's gonna increase over the year before. Previous.
Yeah, I don't know, when Patrice looked at
I
it,
don't
I
think
think
it
he was
did.
indicating that,
Yeah, when we looked at it together, it looked like there was gonna be the
What,
same.
you think these numbers have been these same numbers for 2, 3 years,
I think it is.
which tells me it's probably time for an increase.
Right.
Okay, we'll look for that next meeting then.
It's one of the buyout people I got.
well, just so what are we budgeting on? I mean, this is actually a budget item.
Is it a line item though? Is buyouts a line item by itself? Is it just part of the health insurance? It's just part of the health insurance line, right? So it isn't a line item in and of itself, Paul. It's connected to the cost of your health insurance.
Okay,
It's a big increase.
All right. Let's move on to our last item, which is our informational session for the budget. So I have in front of me the 2023 Hancock County Budget Advisory Committee's budget estimates hit their final meeting. So I'm just going to quickly kind of review what was on there for the major line items. So we have expenditures totaling $10,535,495. Revenues totaling $2,713,817. That includes a $100,000 transfer in it. And that brings us to a amount to be raised through taxation for 2023 of $7,821,678. When you compare that to the 2022 raised through taxation amount of $6,991,339, that leaves us with an increase of $830,339, or an 11.88% in percentage increase. It makes our LD1 overage $426,251.68. So that was presented to us in their final form. We took that information, and at the last meeting, we made further changes to the budget to get it more in line with what's required. And this is the updated calculation sheet for Hancock County. We have expenditures at $10,286,599. We have revenues of $2,893,817. That includes a $250,000 transfer, for a total to be raised through taxation in 2023 of $7,392,782. When you compare that to the 2022 amount raised through taxation of $6,991 and 39, sorry, $6,991, $6,991,339. It is an increase of $401,443. That is a percentage increase of 5.74% as our final increase. You compare that to our LD1, it brings our LD1 under by $2,644.32. Gentlemen, do you have any comments on it?
My only comment is, again, this public informational session is based on the BAC recommendation, not ours at this point, right?
For me, it's very discouraging when I study the language in the LD1 law. Because in order to stay competitive and retain staff, we gave a 7% increase in our wages. And that equates to somewhere between 9.5% and 10% when you factor in scales. And yet, in order to stay under the LD, we had to only come up with you could only come up with a 5.7% increase in our amount raised by taxation, which means somewhere along the way, we had to cut our expenditures or raise our revenue. And I don't know how much longer we can continue to do this way. So I don't know. I know that amending LD1 is very difficult with MMA riding on that, but it's still discouraging and it makes it very, very difficult for us. And so anyways.
There's any members of the public that, since we're doing a public notice, I wasn't sure if there's any members of the public on the call that wanted to make a statement. Okay, seeing none, Paul, were you gonna say something?
Oh, just that, Bill's absolutely right. This, we're gonna, once this ARPA and some of these other things dry up, we're gonna be faced with some, some tough decisions. Hopefully inflation slows down and some of these things slow down. This year's budget is really all, personnel and benefits. It's, not a lot of increases anywhere else. I'm not sure we can keep doing that, but, we're able to do it now through some of these other methods that, again, we won't be able to do in the future.
Great. Well, I think that's the end for our discussion of the Budget Advisory Committee's information meeting.
Before we close, we granted the request from the DA to continue his discussion about the IT payroll services. And as I understand it, whatever happens, they need to make a change by January 1st. Somebody needs to take that over. Kennebec County's no longer going to handle that after December 31st. So time is of the essence for them. But I got to tell you, gentlemen, that I have learned enough about that just in trying to find out what this is about and whatnot. And I'm having a real problem probably supporting that. And I think that message needs to go back to the DA's office that there's not going to be unanimous consent for that. They might want to start a backup plan, maybe with another county or somebody and whatnot. We certainly will entertain a discussion if they'd like to come back and encourage us to take that program on. But I'm finding it very, very difficult to support. So I think it's as a courtesy to them, they should know that and give them an opportunity to get going with somebody else as a backup.
Okay.
And where I stand on the whole thing is, I'm just not seeing the compelling reason to step up. So, you know, if there's a case to be made and there's a real compelling reason, then let's hear it, but at this point, I'm not seeing it.
I agree. All right.
So I'm gonna move to adjourn.
I'm gonna second the motion. Oh, just a minute. What's going,
Oh, yeah, we did.
do what?
Yeah, we did.
amended the end to number 8.
Okay.
What's that?
Oh, we.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. We added a number 8. Sorry, Tim.
I'll be quick. Request to hire Desiree Hazeltine of Old Town as full-time corrections officer effective 12/3/2022 with full-time benefits at level 9C.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
And Tim, I apologize. I added that and just skipped right over it. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
that's fine. I appreciate it. I've had to squeeze it in. Thanks for your time.
Full time.
That's full-time. Yeah.
All right, Paul.
Move to adjourn.
Second the motion?
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Make us up something nice while you're in Chicago.
I'll bring back some snow. How's that?
Christmas is coming.
Oh.
Have you seen
2
Van
inches of snow on the ground here.
Buren? They got a foot up to Van Buren.
I heard they're grooming, Bill.
I asked him.
You went up Sunday?
I think so. Scott's story.
Paul, we're getting ready to end the meeting. Are you all set?
I am. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.